Have you ever wondered how a doctor can look at a tiny piece of you and figure out exactly what's wrong? Well, today we're diving into their secret weapon. It's this incredible, vibrant palette of what are called special stains, and they literally turn invisible clues into a crystal clear picture of what's going on inside your body. Okay, so let's set the scene. Think of your body as a kind of crime scene, and a disease is the culprit. That makes doctors the detectives, right? But the problem is the clues they're looking for are microscopic. So, where do you even start? All right, so when a doctor takes a tissue sample, you've probably heard it called a biopsy, what they get is just this tiny piece of a huge puzzle. You put it under a microscope and it looks like a whole bustling city of cells. The real question is, how do you get those cells to talk? How do you figure out the story they're trying to tell? So this is where the pathologists come in. You can think of them as the super specialized detectives of the lab. And their first step? It's all about getting the lay of the land, a big, wide-angle view of the scene. And their number one tool, their go-to, is a routine stain called Hematoxylin and Eosin. We just call it H&E for short. What it does is it washes the tissue sample in these beautiful pinks and purples, and that gives them a really good general overview of the whole cellular landscape. It's always the first crucial look. But here's the catch. H&E is great. It's like having a map of the city. But it doesn't tell you what's going on inside the individual buildings. To really crack the case, you've got to know which specific structures are in trouble, which pathways are blocked. And for that, you're going to need a whole different set of tools. And this is where we get to the really cool stuff, the stars of today's explainer. We're talking about a set of, well, you can think of them as biological highlighters. Their whole job is to make those crucial, hidden clues just pop right off the slide.
See, these special stains are like precision instruments. Each one is engineered to hunt down and color one very specific target. It could be a certain protein or a type of fiber, or maybe even a hidden bug, like a bacteria. And when it finds it, it makes it stand out, totally unmistakable from everything else around it.
And the way they work is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. You just pick a dye that's chemically attracted to the one thing you're looking for. Then you apply it to the tissue, and that dye, it latches on only to its target. It ignores everything else. And that binding triggers a color change, basically putting a giant spotlight on the evidence for the pathologist. Okay, so let's crack open the specialist's toolkit, shall we? You're about to see the incredible rainbow of colors they use to solve these microscopic mysteries. Pathologists have this massive library of stains to choose from, and each one answers a very specific question. Like, are they worried about the structure of an organ holding up? Boom, they grab a connective tissue stain. Are they trying to figure out how cells are using energy? Then they'll go for a carbohydrate stain. It is all about picking the exact right tool for the job. Okay, check this out. Look at that incredible electric blue color. That's a stain called allicin blue. Its whole purpose is to light up a specific kind of mucus. And when you see this much of it, well, that can be a really important warning sign for certain gut problems, or even tumors that are known to just pump out way too much of this stuff. So we've seen mucus, but what about the actual structure of our organs? This right here is Masson's trichrome, and it's kind of like a blueprint for damage. It stains collagen, which is basically scar tissue, this brilliant blue or green. It makes it super easy to see just how much fibrosis, or scarring, is happening in an organ like the liver or kidney. And of course, other stains are on the hunt for different bad guys. This one, for example, makes iron deposits show up as this deep, unmistakable blue. Now, that's not just a pretty pattern, folks. That's a direct signal of iron overload, a condition called hemochromatosis. And finding this early, with just a simple stain, that can literally prevent serious, permanent damage to organs. So it's not just about finding individual substances. Some stains can actually reveal the very scaffolding, the architecture that holds our tissues together. Let's take a closer look at a really fascinating one called the reticulin stain. Now, this one's a little different. Instead of a regular dye, it actually uses silver to, paint the delicate meshwork that supports our organs. It's an old-school technique, but it's still absolutely vital. By outlining this entire internal framework in this stark black color, any collapse, any break in that structure, it just jumps right out at you. And there it is. You can see that delicate black mesh. Now, in healthy tissue, it should be a perfect, organized net. But when you have diseases like cirrhosis or certain kinds of tumors, that beautiful, elegant pattern gets totally shattered. And that right there is a huge clue for the pathologist. Sometimes finding the evidence takes some clever thinking. See, the normal chemicals used to prepare a tissue sample would actually wash away any fats. I mean, they'd literally dissolve the clue before you could even see it. So, pathologists have this brilliant workaround. They flash freeze the tissue to lock all the fats in place. Then they can use special lipid stains to make them show up in this bright red or deep black.
Okay, so we've got all these colorful clues, right? We've got highlighted mucus, we've got a blueprint of scar tissue, we've got this painted internal framework. So, how does all of this come together? How do pathologists use it to solve the mystery and give a final and often life-saving diagnosis? Well, at the end of the day, this amazing, colorful toolkit is what allows the pathologist to piece the entire puzzle together with just incredible precision. And, as this quote points out, the real magic here is that these stains give you critical information very efficiently, often without having to resort to more complicated and way more expensive tests.
So, what's the bottom line? Why does any of this matter? It's actually really simple. Special stains lead to more accurate diagnoses, period. They help doctors tell the difference between two diseases that might look almost identical under a normal microscope. And that means getting the right treatment to the right person faster. They're this powerful, cost-effective tool that has a huge direct impact on people's lives.
Really, when you boil it all down, the power of these stains is their ability to make the invisible visible. They're like a secret language that lets us read the stories our own cells are telling us about our body's past. And that just leaves us with one final, big question. If these tools let us see the past so clearly, what are we going to invent to see into its future?